Hello, this is Pastor Chris Deknatel here at the Vineyard in Murrieta, California, Promise Lutheran Church, and been a little remiss in keeping up with my podcast here. It's been kind of crazy dealing with COVID and all the changes and stuff. But you focus right now, you see the ash pit, and last night was Ash Wednesday, and we placed the cross upon people's heads, and we think about sitting in the ash pit, sitting in ashes and putting on scratchy clothes, and that process of mourning and wailing and pouring ashes on us. I mean, that is filthy. That is some nasty stuff in there, and it's like powder. It gets, you kick it a little bit, and it's gonna, go everywhere. And there you go. It just blows right up, doesn't it? And imagine sitting in there, pouring that on your head. I'd be coughing and sneezing the whole time I was there. But they would sit in that ash pit and reflect what's called a lament. There's praise psalms, there's thanksgiving psalms, and there's laments. You cry out a lament of, oh God, why? We know on Good Friday we'll probably hear these words at some point in time during Lent. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from my groanings? And so often we feel like that maybe God's not there. God's not listening. He doesn't hear us. And it's people say, oh no, God's always there. And in a sense, yes, but sometimes he's not, in the sense that he's not responding. I'll give you an example. I got daughters, and if you've ever had children or you know somebody that does or did, when they're in that 2 and 3 years old and they like to wander off and not hold your hand, sometimes you let them go in the store, and you follow them. You don't leave them alone, of course, but you follow them and let them kind of feel that sense of, I've ran off and where's mom and dad? And they start looking. And, before they become hysterical, you come and you rescue them and you say, see how easy it was to get lost? And then mommy and daddy couldn't find you. And hopefully they hold your hand and they learn from the next time and you don't have to do it again. But that's a feeling that sometimes you need to let your kids feel like you're wandering away, you're wandering off, can lead to being lost. And you want to make sure that they never get lost. God tells us that he did this to Israel. And he does that to us. And that he times removes his hand, removes his felt presence in our life. But he's still hiding behind the clothing rack watching. He's still looking after us. He never completely leaves us alone. But sometimes we may feel like that. Why are you so far from my groanings? Why are you so far from the problems I have, God? God's right there. And in the midst of our absence, we draw closer to him. We long for him, or we search more. Or maybe we just, ask more questions that God has in store for us to see him, to look for him, to search for him, which is a good thing. But there's got to be absence sometimes for that to happen. Never gone for good, but just, removes his hand, that we might feel that his presence isn't right there all the time. During the season of Lent, we may have a lot of questions and reflections about our life and where God is and what's going on and all the things of the world. And to know that he's never left us. He's always right behind a clothing rack, kind of keeping an eye on us. That even at times we may feel like he's not answering us, especially when we lose people we love or problems hit us. And we say, oh God, where are you? Are you listening to my prayers? He's right there. And he's got us. It calls us to faith. It calls us to trust. How else will we learn unless there's a time that we're released? And so during this Lenten season, he may release you from time to time. You may feel like he's not there, but only to draw you closer. So draw close. 39 days are left. Draw close to God, and he will definitely be there to draw close to you. Hey, this is Pastor Chris Deknatel here at Promise Lutheran Church in Murrieta, California. God bless you, and I'll see you next week as we study another aspect to this kingdom of God.